Hello and welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he's JP's first son, Tim Hoey. We have another great show for you tonight. So, boys, let's get it started. We start with the New England Patriots and a game that they should have won, boys. When you play that close to a team at home, your offense is going pretty well, but you turn the ball over as many times as they turn the ball over. You're not going to win the game. If they had kept the ball in their possession, I think they win that game, but they don't. And then Mac Jones is hurt. It was another horrible day in Patriots land on Sunday.
Absolutely. I had the feeling that the Ravens were going to pull away. I just had that feeling, Like,
well, I mean, look, the
I said
Patriots
we can hang.
had a lead,
but we can hang for two quarters, but we can't hang for 4 quarters. Is how I was perceiving that game.
Russ,
you can't have four turnovers like that.
Russ, you feel that way?
Yeah, I sort of felt like the turnovers, we're just not used to those, right? Like we're not used to the big turnovers against us. I mean, just has historically not happened so much. And so they always are a little surprising, jarring still when they happen. But I didn't feel confident about that game really at any point, mainly because it just sort of felt like Lamar could go off at any given time. But my biggest issue is, and all the statistics support this, once we get behind with Mac, his stats are horrible from playing from behind. And so once we got behind, I kind of felt like this thing was inevitable one way or another.
Well, I don't know, look, Aguilar fumbles the ball. That's not on Mac. Okay.
No. Hang on. I'm not blaming Mac. I'm just saying that he does not seem to be the kind of quarterback who can carry you back into a game when you're behind. I think he has problems.
He played very
agree,
poorly.
100%. I agree.
It was on Mac. 3 turnovers and 3 bad turnovers.
Well, look, you make a great point, Russ. I would say, yes, I don't think he's perfected the hurry up offense. So when you're talking about like Brady had, he can't, he couldn't do a 2-minute offense right now. It's pretty clear. He runs the clock down to 1 second every time. Yes, right. But again, like I texted you, it's 20 games into his career. I think he's developed into quite a good quarterback, but yet he's not there yet.
This is just my perception of Mac Jones. He doesn't seem tough, and not he had a tough injury. No, I'm just Scotty. He just doesn't seem like a tough guy. Like, get up, pissed off. I'm gonna win this game. He just my perception of him so far. I think this is what we're gonna see. I think this is Mac Jones.
Timmy, he ran for how many first downs? He ran for a touchdown. The guy
they were wide open.
They turned the ball over 3 times, Scotty. Yeah. He's ranked the worst quarterback in the NFL. There's only one guy ranked worse than him right now, and that's Justin Fields of the Chicago Bears. All the others are ahead of him. Even your friend Jimmy G, ranked ahead of him.
What was Brady's calling card? Don't turn the ball over. Keep the ball in the Patriots' hands. That touchdown to interception ratio.
Look,
and I'll give it. Peyton Manning threw 1 million interceptions at the beginning of his career. Yeah. I just don't have the faith in him, Scotty, that you have.
Look, Russ, Jim Harbaugh, obviously a very experienced coach, brings a lot to the defensive end. Look, they were able to disguise coverages, especially at one time the linebacker, he didn't even see linebackers and stuff. I mean, this is just the maturation of Mac Jones, would you say?
Yes.
Keep trying.
Well, no, look, I think a lot of these things
keep making excuses.
No, hang on. I think a lot of these things can be true at the same time. I think he is 20 games into his career. There's still a lot of time. We shouldn't expect like high-end play. I also think he's gotten worse this year. And I think you can sit here and say it's gotten worse because of this or because of that. I don't think the Patriots have put him in a position to succeed this year, but he's also made some bad decisions. So you can sit here and say it's part of the maturation, but you also have to say it's not a linear maturation because I don't think he's progressed this year. I think he's gotten worse. I think he played better quarterback last year for the New England Patriots.
But that's expected because he doesn't have the ghost whisperer and Josh,
Josh is 0-3 and getting his ass kicked.
That's a legitimate thing to say, Scotty. I totally agree with that. But like his decision-making this year has been off. Like that decision
that fourth down.
Ball, hang on. That decision to throw that ball up in the end zone when you were in field goal position to get it under a one-score game and just heave it up was a really bad decision. Like it just period. The ball should not have been thrown. Period.
How about the fourth down one? When he's got two receivers, he's looking at the both of them. One is double covered and 3 yards in front of the line to get. And the other guy is wide open. He's only 10 yards away. He can go all the way for a touchdown, and he throws it to the guy double covered, and they turn it over.
I would say that he is more hesitant to get hit in the pocket by the rush than he was last year, and that he tends to be rushing things a little bit, and that, I don't know if that's correctable once that gets in your head. But would you say that's the truth?
It looks to me like he's a bundle of nerves out there.
He is, absolutely.
That's not good.
I think it looks to me, I don't think it has to do with his toughness. I do think it has to do with, I don't think he trusts the system he's in right now. And when you don't trust the system you're in, I think it's hard to make good decisions. I think it's easy to get squirrely in the pocket. I think that he's a good enough quarterback to lead this team to a Super Bowl if he gets the proper development. But I don't think he's ever going to be, like we talked last year, I think we all agreed he would never be a top 5 quarterback. Is Mac Jones capable of being year to year a top 10 quarterback in the NFL?
Yes. I think so.
Yeah, I do too. But he's not there now. He's in the bottom third of this league right now.
He's going to show me.
31.
He's going to show me. I don't know if the correct word I use is toughness. He's got to show me fortitude, that he wants the challenge, that he, certain people wilt when things get tough and certain people step up when it gets tough. And Mac, to me right now, is not the first one.
I don't know what game you're watching, Timmy. Seriously.
Well, I think he's watching. Remember Mac screaming and crying like a girl over a sprained ankle for 5 minutes.
Right. I'll give you. Okay, that has
for
nothing
5
to do
minutes,
on the field.
not
play.
just when it just happened to him. He continued all the way down through
that has nothing to do with on the field play.
I don't think we should ever question a reaction to a guy like Joe. That might have hurt.
Well, it looked like he dipped his leg in lava, for God's sakes.
Come on, Joe.
He doesn't have the pain tolerance that most football players have at that level, right?
Also, these guys get he's 24 years old. It's the whole idea that he's hurt and he won't be able to play is very upsetting also. So you put that all together. I don't give a shit about that. The guy was competing all game. Look at even the 2-point conversion where he ran it in on Stevenson. He was willing to go in there and do whatever he had to do to win the game. Timmy, I don't even know.
Shades of Gordon Hayward.
You can. Oh, for God's sake! You can criticize
Grandpa Mac
making bad decisions. But if you're criticizing him for competing, then you're not even watching the game. I don't even know what game you're watching.
I think he's a high-end competitor. I think he competes his ass off. He took a beating last year. He's taking a beating this year. I have no problem with his pain tolerance or anything like that. He didn't miss a game. He got his ribs plugged, and he didn't miss a game.
No, I don't mean physically
he hasn't
tough.
been touched since game 1.
Guys, I don't mean physically tough. I mean that deep down inside, perform under high pressure. Everyone's looking at you to get it done. And we saw his predecessor get it done.
Oh my God, we're not comparing him to Tom Brady.
I know, no. Well, I'm comparing it to Drew Bledsoe. Like when I saw Drew Bledsoe play right off the bat, I said, this guy has it. You know, I see Jason Allen, Josh Allen with the Buffalo. This guy has it. I don't know what I'm seeing or not seeing. It's a feeling I get when I watch him. I say, this isn't the guy. So it's just my feeling about him.
I would say, I think, Scott, you and I are on the other side of the fence from Timmy and Joe, and that's fine. We'll have something to argue about for the rest of this year. I will say, I think there are some, I think his future is cloudy now in a couple of ways, right? I think it sounds like it's a pretty significant injury. He's going to lose a big chunk of development time in his sophomore year, which is a big deal. I also think the Patriots could be heading to a top 10 draft pick. And when you're in the top 10, you get shots at quarterbacks. And, you know, it would not be out of bounds if Belichick liked somebody in this draft who he liked more than Mac. He drafts him, trades Mac. I mean, his future is getting cloudy right now. I don't think that anyone in the organization, I don't know that if he misses 6 games this year, 8 games this year, Scotty, I think you'd have to put him as a question mark in the organization.
I think it's too early to have those conversations.
It is, but I'm just saying, like, if he mixes 6 or 8 games and you have the 7th pick in the draft, do you just say quarterback is off our board? Are you really going to say that?
Not completely, of course, because it's the most important position on the team. However, I would say that if Josh Allen, if you look back at his career, the wonderful New England sports fans would have drove Josh Allen out of here by year 2. Because if you look at his stats, he was worse than Mac Daddy.
Yeah, but
I don't know if he was worse than Mac, but sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 1 step back before you can advance again. And that might be where Mac is.
Maybe.
But it really, he's played very poorly this year.
Yeah. We want so badly for Mac or anybody to be Tom Brady ×2. We want that so badly, and we're not going to get it ever.
No. Well, you know, it's like, you're dating Christy Brinkley, and then what's after that? If she breaks up,
Buzzy?
Ruth Buzzy. Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, where's there to go after that? I mean, you just keep dreaming about your old girlfriend. You know what I mean?
Well, look, here's the thing about Mac and why Josh Allen is not a great comparison, though, either, Scotty, is that he is not 70% of the athlete that Josh Allen is. I mean, Mac is going to have to get by with guile, with toughness, with smarts. He's got a good enough arm. He's got decent speed. But you take a look at Josh Allen, that guy is the size of a middle linebacker, and he's playing quarterback, and he's got one of the best arms of all time. So you're willing to accept way more mistakes longer with a Josh Allen than you would be with Mac Jones.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A normal sports town would absolutely be correct, but this is not a normal sports town.
I'm with you. We would have driven Josh Allen out of town.
Look at Trevor Lawrence had a terrible year last year, but we knew what that was there. You know what I mean? Nobody was ready to get rid of Trevor Lawrence last year.
Look, Joseph, nobody I love more than Uncle Joe, and Tristan Casas, who's going to be the greatest first baseman in the history of our lifetime for the Boston Red Sox.
Wait, what about George Scott?
Out of here because he's batting 150.
What about George Scott? Come on.
Come on.
Oh, you've got it all wrong. I like Tristan Casas. I think the world of him. I love his approach at the plate. I've never seen he gets screwed by the umpires more than any player I've ever seen.
We're not talking about the Red Sox right now, but you were saying he's batting 150. That's all you wanted to see.
He was batting 114. 1-4.
We're not talking about the Red Sox. We're not talking about the Red Sox.
Just ridiculous. I mean,
Scotty, you just can't take
lose your privileges, Joe.
Scotty, you just can't take a reasonable argument on Mac Jones. You're so in love with him. You're infatuated with them. You're infatuated with them, Scotty.
The problem is that we have no patience at all as sports fans in this town anymore. None whatsoever. You guys,
you see this guy. You see something in this guy after what you've seen this year.
Oh my God! I see even more.
I don't know what's leading you to believe that there's greatness in this guy. I don't see it.
What we saw on Sunday is the maturation at times 10. This guy was running for first downs. I mean, you see, he was competing like no other, and he can He can run for first down. The one time that he moved out of the pocket and he made a pass, and the commentator, Darryl Johnson, said, that is a big time move. This guy's doing stuff. Yes, it may not be showing up in huge victories right now, but this guy has the potential to be a top quarterback. I can't believe you can't see it.
I don't see it.
Don't see it.
I think it's there, but I think that, you know how it's really hard to watch a boxing match as a completely neutral observer because you only see the punches land from the guy that you want to win. I think Scotty's watching a little bit of a boxing match right now where he wants Mac Jones to win because I think he has the potential, Scotty. I'm firmly in the Mac Jones camp. I think he's regressed this year. I think he made a few nice plays on Sunday, but he threw the ball away in big situations. He threw the ball away irresponsibly. Really bad performance. Period.
Can't do it.
Who's a better quarterback? Jimmy G or Mac Daddy?
I think
I might
Mac
put them
Daddy
in the
has
same.
more. I think he has more promise than
I
Jimmy.
put them
G.
in the
I
same-
bet on
But
Mac
right
Daddy.
now, for one game, you'd take Jimmy G over him any day of the week.
Maybe
I
not.
kind of put them
Not
in the
really.
same category, kind of fragile, and
Jimmy G's been to a Super Bowl and an NFC championship game.
Scotty, he didn't take the Super Bowl.
And he's very
He had
handsome.
Teams that took him. He's a game manager. Jimmy G's a game manager. He had awesome players around him, incredible defense. That's what got him there. He managed the games. When it came down to it, he choked a bit like he always does.
Mac Daddy's so much better quarterback than Jimmy G.
Tim's very hard on the quarterbacks tonight.
Yeah, no, really, seriously. When they're in the Super Bowl, I want you all to go apple picking together.
Scotty, I will have Scotty. If Mac Daddy turns out to be great,
There's
there would
no
be
apple
no one
picking in
happier than
February.
me. Let me tell you, I would happily eat my words, but
Yeah.
I don't have
Scotty,
a lot of I don't have a lot of
just
confidence. in them.
point of clarification, Scotty. You're throwing me in with these guys. I believe in Mac Jones. I believe his future is a little more cloudy right now.
No, the way you painted it, Russ, it's a realistic picture. Look, as far as when you get injured, the problem is in the NFL, when you do get injured for 4 weeks, that's, a quarter of the season. And of course, if it's the quarterback, it affects
I thought his leg was broken watching the hit. Myself, I thought he snapped the ball.
It was a dirty play. The game was over and it was unnecessary.
Well, he needs to get those braces that Tom Brady wears, that Tom Brady doesn't wear, but any injuries. He gets those things from fucking NASA or something. I mean, it's pretty remarkable.
That pliability seems to be a thing. It's kept him on the field for 26 years now, whatever the hell.
But let's criticize some other parts of the team. We talked about their inability to draft any linebackers or sign any free agents linebackers. That game where you needed your linebackers to play, I don't think I heard one tackle from any of them.
A lot of missed ones too.
I mean, that was as pathetic a performance because obviously he was getting to the second level, Lamar. And where were the linebackers?
Well, I generally agree with you, Scotty. Lamar Jackson outruns.
He's special.
Pretty much everyone, and I thought they actually contained him relatively well until things broke down late. But look, I think the defense didn't play great. I think generally they played pretty well. The offense is the problem with this team right now.
No, it is, but I mean, the defense was horrific in the second half. I mean,
In the second half, yeah, they had Lamar's number in the first half. What was there, 4 3-and-outs?
Wise played the half of his life.
Well, he was playing against the 4th string guy there.
Right, but he's really developed. I was shocked when they signed him to an extension. But he's been quite a player. He's been the best player in the.
How about Jonathan Jones? I thought the best game by a corner for the Patriots in many a year. He was a shutdown corner in that game,
and he's
made a couple of plays too.
Another guy who was going to end up leaving after this year for a big deal. I mean, but
didn't he sign an extension last year?
No, he's a free agent after he signed it a few years back.
Oh, okay.
Look, but offensively, running back game looked good.
Yeah, they should have gone to it more, right? Like there were key points where it felt like if they run the ball a couple times, they might have been a difference, you know?
Is Timmy's boy Stevenson the number one running back right now?
I think he's still number 4.
Harris looked pretty good.
What? The number one running
No,
back?
number 3, strong. Number 1 is I'm afraid he's injured right now, Ty Montgomery. Number 2 is Harris, or vice versa. And number 3 is Ramondre. Number 4 would be Pierre. Strong.
Did anybody catch that article about Stevenson growing up and the obstacles he's overcome? Great article, huh?
Great article, yeah, great piece.
Seems like a good kid, good family.
He's improved so much from when he came from preseason last year to what he is now. It's like night and day. He's really done a lot.
You talk about Ty Montgomery. Russ, you tell him the truth.
Didn't Ramondre get more carries than Harris on Sunday?
Yeah,
he may have. Well, Harris got hurt, remember? And that might have been it.
But
the
Ty
week before,
he's not even playing.
I know Montgomery, but he was number 1 on the depth chart.
No, he wasn't. I mean, we talk about he's like a James White mode.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more of a special team.
I believe what Joe's saying. He could have been. I don't understand why he would be. I mean, I haven't seen much of the guy, but Stevenson and Harris are both very good running backs.
I think they're number 1 and 1A. I mean, Stevenson got 12 carries. Harris got 11 carries. Both of them were healthy. So
it seems like they give Harris the ball more around the goal line than Stevenson.
Yeah, I mean, but like you said, they need to get the ball in those guys' hands. And with Brian Hoyer as the quarterback on Sunday, it's all going to be about running.
If you want to know, if you want to dial up the conversation we had for the first 12 minutes of the show, what if Brian Hoyer goes out, plays well under this offense against a good defense in Green Bay on Sunday? Then there's going to be some scrutiny on Mac in a big way.
Is that why they're not Joe? Is that why Bradley Zappi isn't going to see the field? Because if he played well, then you can only imagine.
Boy, I'd love to see him. He's exciting to watch. They might lose by 40, but it'd be a fun game to watch.
Who would you rather be the quarterback, Russ, on Sunday, Hoyer or Zappi?
Look, I think I just didn't see anything from Zappi in the preseason. I'm not a believer in that guy. I just don't think he has it. If you want to tank, you start Zappi. If you want to try to win a few games, look, if you think Mac can come back and you want to win 3 or 4 games, 3 or 5 games, you've got to start Hoyer. He's your only hope. Zappi's not going to win any damn football games for the
No,
Zappi seems really loose with that ball when I saw him play.
Timmy, the last 11 games,
shaking your head at.
Timmy, the last 11 games that Hoyer's play started, he's 0-11.
Point spread's 10 this week. What do you think?
I would take the Packers all day.
You see,
I
don't know.
We got the number. We get the number 1 team next week. It's the national game. 90% of the country will be watching that game, and we got the Romo crew.
The network is shaking their head at that one. I have a feeling.
Well, no, it's Green Bay. People want to see Green Bay.
It strikes me as one of those games where Belichick's going to come up with some mad defensive plan to frustrate the Packers, and I think the Pats are going to lose. I don't want to come out with the predictions yet, but I think they're going to keep it closer than we think.
Well, he didn't have any mad defensive plan against Lamar Jackson. I just want to make.
Well, he held them for a while, compared to what he's done in previous games.
Harbaugh figured out what they were doing in the second half and negated it.
Again, I can't believe we didn't draft Lamar Jackson. That was just a huge mistake. Now that he's come together as a quarterback that throws accurately with the running ability, I mean, wow. He's now all of a sudden it's Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson, right?
Yep. 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, the future. I mean, obviously,
he seems durable too. I mean, the knock on those kind of guys is that their lifespan is very short in the NFL.
You think he ever gets to free agency? Would the Ravens ever let that happen?
Yeah, well, he's letting it happen.
They could franchise him.
Look, the thing about it though, and I don't know if we mentioned this last week or not, man, history is littered with guys who were really durable until they weren't, right?
Yeah.
And those running quarterbacks get the snot kicked out of them. And
Yeah.
you know, Robert Griffin III looked like he was going to revolutionize the position, and he got pounded going out of bounds and literally wasn't the same player.
Those kind of quarterbacks, they live in dog years. You know
But
what I mean?
that's what's dominating the NFL right now. Mahomes, Allen, Jackson,
Yeah, but remember,
and even
Allen is,
Aaron Rodgers is a mobile quarterback.
yeah, but Allen is like 6'5".
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, he's big.
fast and a
245 pounds too, Russ.
Yeah,
He's
like-
big.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jackson has become quite a thrower. So when you talk about improving your one part of your game, he's as accurate as they come right now.
And he can throw it 80 yards too.
He was putting balls, that one end zone pass, he just to the tight end, that was about perfect.
He's good.
He really is good. And I hate Harbaugh, so this is not
It
his-
wasn't.
What about Jackson? He runs with abandon. You know, Mahomes is kind of picks his spots when he's gonna run. Allen is just so big he can kind of get away with it, but Jackson, you wonder if he's just a hit away, you know, from
All right, so let's go to the
ACL or
predictions.
whatever.
Timmy, Packers, Patriots. Packers.
Well, the spread is
Right.
10. I think the Patriots are going to cover. I will say 27-20.
Wow.
Packers.
Russell,
In that same vein, 30-13 Packers.
30-13. Well,
Yeah.
okay. So the Packers coverage. Uncle Joe.
Okay, I'll go for a lower scoring game and go for 24-17. I'm afraid the Packers and the Patriots cover, like Tim says.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be 23-3 Packers. We're not moving the ball at all. No way.
Now, what were our predictions last week? Who was the closest last week? Do you write these down, Scotty?
I did not. I had the Patriots winning, so I have the Jimmy G. I think you guys all had them losing.
I had them losing 28-24, I think.
I had the Patriots winning because I'm positive and I believe in my Patriots.
And Mac Daddy to boot.
Go,
And to-
Mac Daddy.
and to
go,
think
Mac
we're gonna
Daddy.
have-
I love you. Get the pom poms out, Scotty.
The thing we're gonna pat the Patriots. Finally we get the throwback unis, and we have to have Brian Hoyer as quarterback.
Is that this
So what is-
Sunday? Are they wearing
Yeah.
the throwbacks
Wait,
this Sunday?
Scotty, I
Oh,
missed your
wow.
prediction. I missed your prediction.
sad.
23-3 Packers.
Write these down if you got a pen there. Write these down.
Okay, I'm gonna no, I'll look back at the show. I have to moderate the show right now.
So what was your score again?
23-3. My prediction?
23-3.
Yeah, that's my prediction.
That could happen. That could happen.
Okay, we're gonna go to the Celtics. And I just want to briefly say, if you're there's like 8 billion people on the planet, if you're Ime Udoka, you played in the NBA for 7 years or 8 years, you then come out assistant coach, you got a hot actress girlfriend who has a child by you, you're the head coach of the Boston Celtics. Every time you walk in a room, everybody kisses your ass. And yet, what do? You've got to basically screw everything that walks in the Boston Celtics administration office. He deserves the fate that is being given to him. Would you agree?
Yeah, he made his bed, and by all accounts, we've only seen the very tiniest tip of the iceberg. What they're putting out there is for legal, when they say just that traveling secretary, that's for the legal obligation to make it look good so that he'll sign the papers.
Hang on, the Celtics did not put the traveling secretary out there. No one's.
Oh, they didn't?
Anything out there.
No. But
Team
look, we know it's
Only the team
worse
that
than
said-
just screwing around with two women in the.
Well,
Is
but the only thing the team that says multiple violations, you can get multiple violations from one affair, which is you have it, you've been told you have it, you were told not to do it, you do it again, and then you lied by it. That's 3 violations in one thing, right? So we don't know. Like
They won't even tell the
10%.
players. They told the players they can't tell them anything because of the legal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was watching Perkins on ESPN, and he said he knew exactly the story. The host was kind of scolding him for, coming out and saying, Perkins came out and said the woman was just as much his fault in this, and the female host was scolding him, saying that, he should not make such a statement without all the facts. And Perkins, I have all the facts. I know what happened. And female was just as much his fault here as he was. I'm quoting somebody else. That is not me saying.
Yeah.
And I'm also paraphrasing.
No
and then
chance.
Matt Barnes came out and said it's 100 times worse than we could ever imagine.
Like,
yeah.
Do we really think that Matt Barnes and Perkins have 100% of the Celtics don't have 100% of the information, for God's sake. Like,
that's why they hired the outside firm to do the investigation.
But the Celtics didn't want this to happen. The last thing they wanted to do was fire their sexy little head coach after 1 year. There's not a chance they wanted to do this. They hired a law firm, a private, independent investigator. They came back to him and said, "Holy shit!" And this look at what we found out. And they couldn't ignore it. And this wasn't even being politically correct. His behavior was not a behavior where this guy could lead men any further.
If they had left him alone and not done this, then they would have been liable if any of the other people involved in this sued. They're not going to sue Ime. He doesn't have enough money. They're suing the $1 billion Boston Celtics. Yep. So they're covering all dotting the I's, crossing the T's in every legal aspect on this.
It's a multi-billion-dollar organization. They have to treat it as such.
Yeah.
But look, I mean, the players, they said they didn't know much, but they weren't in defense of Ime.
No, they haven't been.
So, they know, they see what Ime does. They see when they go into his room, maybe he's hitting on their girlfriends or wife. He may be that kind of guy.
They've been on the road together.
Maybe kind of guy who's always giving everybody a hug and a kiss. And and after a while, everybody's feeling uncomfortable with him in the room.
Well,
he's a very handsome guy. So
just remember, I would say that honestly, pound for pound, NBA players are as aware and protective of their image as any athletes are. And these guys get very smart about how to use social media. They're very socially aware, and they know, if they don't know the full story, but just think of if you're Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum and they comment in support of Udoka based on what they know. And a week later, stuff comes out where there was some harassment, right? There was some inappropriate stuff that went on. Then what are they going to do? Unsupport him? Like, they know well enough to know that if they don't have all the information down and they shoot the mouths off right now, that can only get bad for them.
Yeah.
Right?
So how about my theory that the Celtics obviously did not want this to happen, but when this did happen, that this kid Mazzulla, who interviewed with Ainge for the job in Utah, ending up going to another Celtics assistant, Will Hardy, that they thought very highly of this guy. And maybe because of this guy that, it wasn't so hard to separate themselves from Udoka with the idea that Mazzulla was able to take over.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe because they knew they were going to can Ime months ago.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, everything happened a week before training camp. But they knew 2 or 3 months ahead of time.
I think, Joe, they knew it was probably a possibility, right? And then sounds like
they knew that 99% that they were going to have to do this.
I disagree a little bit. I think that there was, I think right before they made the announcement, there was some type of straw that broke the camel's back, I think, within a couple of weeks of that announcement.
Well, they said 2 days before the announcement, the law firm came back with their report. Yeah. But I think I agree with Joe in a sense, Russ and Tim, that in July, when they hire a law firm to investigate an employee, just in that itself, it fractures the relationship.
They only hired the law firm to cover their legal, doing their due diligence so that they can't be sued.
Now,
so they knew back then in July.
So did I hear that it was maybe the wife of one of their employees, or is it an employee?
We don't know.
We don't know. Like, it's really like, who knows? But
if it was the wife of an employee, right? Would that not be under the umbrella of
the policy?
The policy.
I think what he did most likely went so far beyond, policy.
He wasn't just fooling around with one person.
There's nefarious things that went on.
It'll all come out. It'll all come out eventually.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure they're all going to sign non-disclosures before this is all said and done. Email's not coming back, and they're all going to sign NDAs before this is all said and done.
Look,
Scotty, you asked about Missoula. I think for me, he was a continuity hire, right? Like, they needed to hire somebody who was just gonna as closely continue what they did last year as possible. And with Hardy going and taking that job in Utah, he really was the only one who you could have promoted from the system to maintain continuity, who the players had faith in.
Well, didn't they just bring back the assistant from the Clippers that was the big man guy?
I haven't checked.
Did they get him? I know they asked permission to talk to him.
They asked for permission with the Clippers, and the Clippers gave him permission. I know. I don't know if it's all fallen into place, but they're bringing him back to give.
That's strange to me, because I thought you would only be able to ask for permission if it was a job that was a better job than.
You can still ask for permission.
No, hang on. I think in the assistant pecking order, there are such things as the lead assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And if Larinaga wasn't the lead assistant for the Clippers, the Celtics could go ask permission to make him the lead assistant.
You know what amazes me? During these timeouts of the game, about 8 guys in suits get up and walk around the floor looking at clipboards. I'm like, how many freaking coaches are there on this team?
But the Larinaga is like the big man specialist. And so right now, where we have a big man drought, he'll be the guy to bring Cornette along.
Well, first of all, Russ, thank you for clearing that up. I didn't understand, because because there has to be something. There has to be some upward movement.
Like defensive backs coach to defensive coordinator.
Yeah, something.
Kind of but if you ask permission, they can move sideways. They might ask for a second round draft pick or something in return.
Right.
But you can ask if they can move without permission if they're going for a promotion, is how it works.
Yeah, right. I mean, it's all very interesting because you started the season, as far as training camp goes, you have a guy who, what is he calling Udoka up and saying, "Can I have your notes?" At this point,
right.
It's very disorganized. It's probably going to cost them early, but will this cost them late?
This has shades of the year that Hayward broke his ankle.
Well, it's all about when injuries, who's healthy come playoff time. If the Celtics are healthy come playoff time, they will do well. I've seen nothing but good reports. The Jays have been working like dogs all summer, it seems. All I see is,
in my opinion, this team has reached a level of maturity. If before last year, I would have wondered, but I think these kids are getting old. These younger players, they're getting older. So to monitor themselves on how they do things.
Well, look, in the NBA, it's a lot more rest than just rolling the ball out there.
Yeah, I mean, Scotty, your question was
your connection's bad right now. You may want to go back in.
Scotty, your question was, will it hurt them early or late? I think those two are connected, because the concern that I would have is, first off, I think the East is going to be tough, and you don't want to fall below the 4th seed. right? So if you get off to a bad start, you could be playing on the road in your first playoff series, which would not be great. The other problem is that with Robert Williams out, not getting another backup in, you're going to have to all of a sudden stress these guys to play well early, right? So how much they play early is going to affect how much they have left in the tank or their injury status late. So they can't afford to get out to a bad start. I'm sorry, and survive the East.
Timmy, I can only turn to you for the Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart behaved with Udoka as the coach. Now, Marcus, will he behave for Missoula?
That's a very good question, Scotty. I don't know. I don't know.
Because I feel like all of a sudden he's going to feel like he's got to be the voice in the huddle. He's going to be the voice everywhere.
I think I'm going to make up 17,000 cards and hand them out as people come into the stadium. And every time he's thinking about shooting, everyone holds up their cards and says, "Don't shoot."
I mean, Joseph, this is a huge point. I mean, we feel like at times that Marcus holds the team hostage. He does. I mean,
well, it's still, I think both Jays took a larger leadership role last year and started to push Marcus to the background a little. Ime was more than willing to let Marcus lead the huddles, but
Russell,
I think it won't be a problem.
Yeah, Russell, bringing Brogdon in was putting Marcus Smart lower in the food chain. Would you agree?
I don't really agree with that. I think the Celtics have set it up so that at least going into the year, Marcus is above Brogdon in the food chain. I think Brogdon's even nodded towards that. Now, could that change? Yeah. I also think like the Marcus of being, where the Marcus that held us hostage was for the most part the hostage before February of last year. I think we all got to admit Marcus became a different player in February last year. And other than a couple of games, and everyone had their bad games down the stretch, everyone had bad games. Other than a couple of bad games and bad decisions, that guy was top notch. He was towing the line.
We saw several times in the playoffs where old Marcus would have shot the ball and he passed it.
But that was the headlining story as far as the positivity toward Udoka was how he had made this effect on Smart, changing the team's fortune.
Yeah.
Or maybe Smart saw that it turned out good and he'll keep that mojo,
Maybe, but what's his relationship with Missoula? Was Missoula, his guy, or was one of the other assistants Smart's guy? I don't know. I mean, look, this Missoula thing is a big risk. Hey,
I got a question. Is Missoula a physically big guy?
No.
See, that's what I liked about Udoka. Udoka seemed like he could go toe to toe with any of these guys, and I don't know if that's important or not. Size can be an intimidation factor in those locker rooms, So I don't know if this guy's gonna have the same.
Timmy
Udoka obviously had a swagger
mentality to everything.
Well, he had a swagger about him, There was a certain guy, Charlie Titus was the athletic director of UMass Boston. He's a large, physically imposing man, you know what I mean? And it was just like when he was talking with you, there was an intimidation factor. He was so big. I don't know. When you talk with someone, it can beat the crap out of you. Sometimes the conversations go different,
Udoka's out of central casting. If you're casting for a movie,
he looks like
he looked like an NBA coach.
He looks like he should play the lead in The Lion King, like the father lion or something. He's a handsome guy. I mean, he had a presence about him, that's for sure.
Look, we talked about the Celtics spending as much money as needed, Russ, this season. So they are going for it. Do you guys, and Russ, start with Russ, will Udoka ever be coach of the Celtics again?
No. I thought it might have been possible until I saw that media day the other day, and that made me realize that he blew a hole in the hull of this organization that they're all trying to now patch up, right? You you don't bring a guy like that back. Like, I think it's really hard to say, oh, you blew a hole in the hull of our organization last year, but I'm sure you'll be great from here on out, right?
Because we know when guys chasing skirts, they can stop themselves, Joe.
Well, even if honestly the damage has been done, Scotty, like they may still be fine. They could win the championship this year. It's like nothing. I would believe anything at this point. But if they win the championship this year, you're going to bring them back?
Huh. No.
Well, with that,
if you get to the finals,
I don't think legally they ever intend to bring him back in any way, shape, or manner. The only reason why they made it a suspension was so they could continue dotting the I's and crossing the T's. All the legal niceties are taken care of, and Ime is out the door, and they're giving him a nice little cover story that he was only fooling around with one of the secretaries, something. That way he can continue his career. He can get a job in the NBA a year or two from now, but no one is going to touch him for a year or two.
You know, there were questions before the Celtics hired, like, why was this guy still available with his resume and what he had done? Like there were people scratching their heads. Why had this guy not been hired earlier to be a head coach? Do you think this is baggage that he had been carrying with him for years? I mean, this behavior?
Well, Popovich let him go, and Doc got rid of him after a year.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
They vet these guys pretty well before they hire him as coach. So, I mean, the same law firm.
He might have gotten into the same sort of troubles in Philly.
Well, I don't want to speculate about that. You know, the guys.
Well, these are questions that are out there, though. These are questions.
Could it be? Sure, but like there's probably 25 longtime assistant coaches who are been waiting to get hired in the NBA at any given time. So it's like,
and he did a good job. He was an excellent coach, and we were happy to have him.
I was sad when this happened.
It's a coaching carousel. How many jobs has Tom Thibodeau had, for God's sake, since he was a Celtics assistant?
Weren't you guys sad when you heard this?
Hiring the same guys.
Weren't you sad when you heard this, though?
I was.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you know, we've never had this. Can you imagine? Have we ever had a situation with a head coach like this?
Well, like you said earlier, Scotty, the Celtics didn't want this, and none of the Celtics fans wanted this kind of thing. But if it's forced upon you, it's forced upon you.
I found it interesting in that press conference on Media Day. Brad Stevens doesn't look like he ever wants to be a coach again.
No.
Yeah.
Would have been the wrong move. It just everything about that was wrong. You weaken yourself a general manager. On top of everything else, the guy's proved himself to be so far a pretty damn good general manager. We're gonna take him out of that role and put him back on the bench where he didn't want to really do it anymore anyways.
Boy, hiring Ime was one of his best moves as general manager. Let's hope the hiring of Missoula is just as good.
Look, if the Celtics win a championship, the Brogdon deal will go down as one of the best deals in the history of the Boston Celtics.
It makes so much sense.
Brogdon is Dennis Johnson with a better shooter, and I love Dennis Johnson, one of my favorite players. But Brogdon is. If we had Brogdon during that finals, we win a championship.
Oh, if he would have had a playmaker. We didn't have any playmakers.
The knock is if he stays healthy.
Yeah. Right. And he just sounds so mature. He makes me feel like I'm an 8-year-old. The way have you heard him speak?
Yeah.
This guy has it together. Oh my God, he's got the full pack.
I hope he stays healthy. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
But I will finish the Celtics. Will the Celtics trade Udoka after June 30th? Trade him.
Oh no! No!
Couldn't get a rubber outdoor basketball for that guy.
Yeah,
really.
Plus, the legal implications would be, oh no, they don't want to open that can of worms.
Really?
Please.
All right,
Scotty. I think it's a good question.
Why are they holding on to him?
But I'm not a lawyer either.
Why didn't they fire him then?
Because they're doing what Joe just said. Is they're probably in negotiations with him. Is probably really what's going on. Is that they're probably in some sort of like, here's what we got. We could void your whole contract. So we're not going to pay you the entirety of the contract. Let's come up with a deal.
But if you
Well,
want
what I heard-
a non-disclosure agreement, you're gonna have to give him something.
I heard they were giving him 50% of his salary this year.
How much? 50%?
50.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he sits there today and he's not the head coach of the Celtics, and
Yeah.
that's the
If he
worst
keeps
thing.
his mouth shut, they'll pay him something. So he's gonna keep his mouth shut and they're gonna pay him something.
Well, he's a freaking moron, and I don't feel sorry for
Oh, I
him.
agree. I agree.
I mean, the
100%.
opportunities he's had in his life, and to screw him up, totally self-inflicted. All right, speaking of self-inflicted, we go to the Boston Red Sox, and first of all, I got to talk about Tristan Casas, as we mentioned before, guys. Russ made a great point last week. There's Mo Vaughn in the
George
short period of time.
George Scott.
George Scott, yeah, absolutely. Tristan Casas will be the number one first baseman in our lifetime, and it's not even going to be close.
Mo Vaughn's a tough one to go over.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Mo Vaughn was a great player, and I loved him. But oh my God, have you seen this guy's power? Have you seen his bat speed? You see the size of him? I mean,
Did you see last night? He hit one to the opposite field too.
420 in a row.
Yeah.
And
He has the potential to do it. He's just got to put together one good month after another, and then one good year after another. So
Yeah, we got to
he
see
has
him
all the
do it
tools.
for us. But the
Yeah.
umpires hate him. He works the count. I've never seen a guy in more 3-2 counts, and then the umpire calls a low strike on him and
well,
sends
he's
him
a
to the
rookie,
bench.
so they don't know him yet. But once he's hitting 50, 60 home runs a year, and they'll get to know him. This is so all of a sudden, Casas is penciled in. Story, sign Xander, re-sign Devers, sign Aaron Judge, and you can raise our season tickets 20%. I'll be just fine.
Hey, did Judge break the record or tie Maris's record
Not
today?
yet.
Not yet.
Still chasing it, huh?
But if I'm a pitcher, I'm like a dog pitcher, I'm totally giving that up to him.
Hey, are we all agreeing that Maris's record is the real record?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me too.
I didn't. By the way, I didn't see a lot of tough pitches thrown to Albert Pujols in the last. couple of
No.
weeks.
Yeah. No. They were sending like the Mickey Mantle.
What record
The
is
answer
he
is
missing?
Tracy Stallard. That's the answer. The question is, who gave the home run up to Roger Maris?
I can remember exactly where I was. I was in Canton, Massachusetts, at my cousin's house,
Oh,
watching that go over the fence in their living room. That was such a big deal back then.
So Maris had
that
61, right?
was like national news. They would cut in on all programming every time Maris hit a home run that year. And
So
when
he
that
beat-
happened, they stopped programming and went to 30-minute specials about it.
He needs one to tie, right?
yeah. No, one. Wait, yeah, 60 now.
Yeah.
One to tie.
One ties.
Yeah, definitely. I assume they're going to make sure that happens.
Someone will groove it to him. The Red Sox didn't want to do it where they did it with Maris.
Red Sox biggest need in the offseason.
Right fielder.
Number one, right fielder, Timmy.
Pitching.
Pitching. Well, what kind of pitching?
Both starting and bullpen. I can see us losing at least three starters right now. Evaldi, Walker, Hill might not be here next year.
Well, Hill, please. Okay, I think I can recover from that.
Well, they can find someone to replace him, but that's three right there. And guess who'll be replacing him? Your friend Nana.
Nana's not going to pitch again for the Red Sox. He'll do something.
I think I would say right fielder, but I would say it's pretty close. I think they need a full-blown big boy veteran closer.
Yeah.
Who
Yes.
can then push Houck and Whitlock into support roles and get everyone in a proper place in that bullpen.
I agree with Russ. That's Timmy too. Yeah, the right fielder. But for me, you need a closer. Everything starts and ends with a closer right now. And then you got to just be able to get to him. And if we could get that Diaz guy again, that's who I want.
You remember we had Papelbon in the ninth. Who was before Papelbon?
Well, we had Folk in 2004, Papelbon in 7.
But who we had an eighth inning guy for a long time.
Embry and Timlin. It was Timlin in the 7th, Embry in the 8th, Folk in the 9th.
And then we had Hideki Ojima.
Koji was as good as I've ever seen when he was.
He was the best of all.
Yeah. And then 18. Who was our closer in 18?
Kimbrel, but Kimbrel, and then
with the fire going around the place.
Yeah. So we've always had legitimate star closers. So the top 5 when we won it.
Yeah.
How many years are we going on without? How many years are we going on now without one?
Well, since Kimbrel.
Since Kimbrel.
Yeah.
18.
Yeah.
Not a good plan. Not
every
a good
championship we won, we had a top-notch closer.
Yeah. Not a good plan to go in without like a top 5 closer in the league.
Yeah.
Do we trust Heim this offseason?
He's got to get out of this Tampa Bay model that he's got stuck in his head. He still thinks it's Tampa North, I think, without bringing in the big money closer. He refuses to do that. Like I agree totally with you guys. He needs to get a big time closer. Is he in the mindset to go out and do that? I don't think he is.
He would have been able to if 2 years ago when he came in, he had done the right thing and signed Devers then. Now it's going to cost him 5 times as much.
Why aren't they negotiating with those guys right now?
I don't think they want to negotiate. I think it's one-sided.
Xander clearly does.
Yeah.
Right?
He talks a good game, but I don't think his agent is in town to do it.
They won't start. I don't think Xander has anything to gain from negotiating now. I think he has everything to gain from negotiating in the market, see what he can drum up, and then coming back to the Red Sox.
But if you're the Red Sox, you want to leave with some positive energy going into the offseason. Wouldn't you try to do something PR-wise?
Boris is never gonna sign Bogarts to a deal before the season ends.
Russ is right. That's just his MO.
Never.
I don't know about that. All I would say is that Xander wants to stay here so bad. He took this contract, and apparently Boris was not happy about it.
Scotty, I think Xander
he'll opt in then.
He's pissed. He's frustrated. He's pissed. They lowballed him on an offer. I mean, unless they came back to him with something that blew him away, why would he sign that contract?
No, he's not going to. No, they got to.
He could opt in if he was the mindset you think he is.
Right.
No, I just think that I just can't believe it. If the Red Sox let Xander Bogaerts go, that would just be incredible. Really, after letting I can't even speak about it anymore. All right, we finish up.
He'll bring in 6 different shortstops and see which one sticks.
Yeah. Maybe bring in Tony Perez or Bob Watson.
Yeah, see what sticks.
We'll finish up with the Bruins. They've started exhibition play, and Bruins fans get excited about watching exhibition games.
Yep.
Well, Timmy's, I'm sure, is excited about the guy that got 2 goals last night, and he's 6'3" and 220 pounds, and likes to fight.
Who's
AJ
Greer. But he's been around for a while, different teams.
Yeah. He was at Utica last year in the AHL.
Oh, and they got this young foreign kid who might be something. We'll see. I mean,
he looks awful tiny. He doesn't look like he'll last.
But I've seen guys like that do okay though. They get the touch around the net,
How about Johnny Beecher? He's got a good name.
What's that?
Johnny Beecher?
Not really familiar with him.
Yeah, no, he was a big pick. He's a big kid, played for Michigan, and I think they hope that Beecher is one of those guys who plays better in the pros than he did in college because he's going to be surrounded a little bit more. But he's a big kid. He's a coil kind of player, like big but not like super physical.
Well,
believe it or not, the game slows down in some ways in the NHL. People more stay to their defensive assignments. Sometimes you have a little more room to operate.
Right.
Well, we need some young players to come up and start playing well and push David Krejci out. All right, that's our show for
I
tonight.
know you had to end it like that.
I just wanted to finish up. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes.
I supported you all night long, and you threw that grenade into it at the very end. Thank you very much.
Did you see they had a whole they have a whole check line now with him, Pasternak, and the new guy. What's his name? LASIK?
The check line.
Yeah, well, when Johnny Beecher replaces Krejci, that
I'll give you the report on who has the prettiest wife after the first game.
I know you will. That's our show for tonight. Want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on Spotify and follow us. It will be life-changing. Trust me. My name is Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night. All right, boys, that was fun.
Oh, everyone's getting in your business tonight. I'm your best supporter tonight.
I know you really were.
Yeah.
And I'm not used
Opposite
to it.
day.
I apologize. I'm always figured that you're going to be on the other side.
No,
I was waiting for the.
I was waiting
for the.
I'm riding shotgun with you.
Well, Scotty kept looking behind to see. Something's coming up on me.
You guys